Okay, so in this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to create the contrast codes that we created for scenario 2 in jamovi. So this is one video in a series of videos, so I recommend that you watch the previous videos first, or else this won't make a whole lot of sense. But in an earlier video, we created um, this set of contrast codes right here. So we demonstrated that that these codes are orthogonal, and we made sure that they're fractional. And we ensured that after we made them fractional, they still met all the criteria for being orthogonal. So this is the set of codes we want to create in jamovi. Okay, so this is a separate scenario where we're testing a different research question than scenario 1. But I'm just going to demonstrate how to make both of these. The procedure is going to be identical to the previous video where I made these contrast codes in jamovi for scenario 1, but I'm just going to, for completeness, I'm going to show you how to do this for the second set also. Okay, so let's focus in. So first we're going to create this one right here. So it's, oh, I didn't, let me see. This should actually say group 4. Group 3, group 4. Oops. This typo is from the beginning. Okay. All right, so we're going to call this new variable group 3, group 4, v group 1, group 2. Okay, so let's go back to jamovi. We're going to create our new variable. We're going to use a transformed. So we're going to again call this group 3, group 4, v group 1, group 2. You might think this is weird, but I really like descriptive variable names. Okay, source variable is going to be group. And then we're going to go using transform, and we're going to create a new transform. Okay, so let's go back to our codes that we created. So for participants in group 1, for this variable or this code that we're interested in, for those in group 1, we're going to give them a negative 0.5. So let's go back to jamovi. So source, we have already set that up for group, so group equals 1. It's going to be negative 0.5. For group 2, it's also going to be negative 0.5. So do this equals 2, negative 0.5. Okay, so go back. So for group 3 and group 4, we're going to do 0.5, positive 0.5s. So let's just go do that in jamovi. So group 3, 0.5, group 4, 0.5. Click away, hide this, and now this we have our first code created here. Again, very long variable name. Some people might not like that, but I find it convenient. Okay, so let's move on to our second code. So that's the first code in our second set of orthogonal contrast codes. So let's go look at what we're going to call our next code. We're going to call it group 4 versus v group 3. So let's go to jamovi. We'll create a new variable. We're going to transformed. Well, let me just double check that name. What is it again? Group 4 v group 3. Group 4 v group 3. Okay. Source is going to be group again. We're going to create a new transform. Leave the name transform 5, that's fine. Okay, add a recode condition, and then let's just go through the steps. So group 1 and group 2 are going to get zeros for this code. Group 1, if group 1, give them a 0. If group 2, give them a 0. So let's go do both of those. So if group 1, 0, oops, add a recode. If group 2, 0. Okay, let's go look at what's group 3. Group 3 is negative 0.5. So add a recode condition. If group 3, negative 0.5. And what about group 4? Group 4, 0.5. If group 4, 0.5, positive 0.5. Okay, click away, hide this, and there we have our second contrast code for our second set of orthogonal fractional contrast codes. There it is. All right, so let's move on to our final code. I'm kind of going a little faster through this one because I did this exact process in the previous video, but I'm just doing this one for completeness, just in case you're curious. So new transformed variable. Okay, what are we going to call this? Let's go back to the codes we created in a previous video. We're going to call this group 2 versus group 1. Group 2 v group 1. Oh, did I already have this? Group. Oh, so I already have it actually right here. So I can actually just not create a new one, but I'll do it just assuming that other set of codes doesn't exist, since that's a completely different scenario. So I'll just create it anyway, just for completeness here. Let's just create a new, pretending that that other set of codes doesn't exist. Okay. So for group 1, we're going to do negative 0.5. So add a recode for group 1. We're going to do negative 0.5. Okay, so what about group 2? Group 2, we're going to do 0.5. Add a recode, group 2 equals 0.5. And then let's look at groups 3 and 4. They're both going to get 0, so let's do that together. So recode if 3, give them a 0. If 4, give them a 0. Okay, and there we have it. We have our second full set of orthogonal fractional contrast codes in Jamovi. Okay, so in the next video or two, I don't know how many more I'm going to make, we will use these contrast codes that we've created here to test our research questions. And I'll demonstrate that it's going to be statistically equivalent to the one-way ANOVA we ran in the very first video in this series. Okay, so that'll be the next video or two.